on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You know who it is by now.
Jimothy.
So ladies and gents, we are back on a locals adventure, and I've managed to get out to locals. It's been difficult over the last couple of weeks just to get to locals. Again, I mentioned previously in one of my previous videos that life does sometimes take precedence, but anyway, we're here, we're at Asgard. It's Sunday. It's actually a box tournament today, so there's going to be some pretty competitive players here trying out a few things. I'm expected to see a lot of Scythe DPE, but the meta here is actually slightly different. There's not as much Brave, which is a good thing, but then again, I haven't been here for a while, so I'm not too sure if people have managed to just pick up those cards. But nevertheless, we are here at locals. It's probably going to be like a 20+ man tournament, so we're going to see how we get on, ladies and gents. And we are actually playing Dragunity Dragonmaids. Yes, ladies and gents, I'm just going for it. Let's just go for it. I want to have some fun. I want to enjoy myself. I want to just do some crazy combos and just be able to play the game, so we'll see how it goes. But anyway, ladies and gents, I will catch you in the next one. Peace. Okay, ladies and gents, so round one, I found myself up against Shaddoll featuring Dragoon. Now, I actually lost the die roll and I had to go second. He set up a couple of back row with Winder, I believe, but I managed to just clear his Winder quite easily. I think I went into chamber searched Dragonmaid changeover, and then I went straight into Shao. He did actually manage to banish a few cards out of my graveyard, including my changeover, but luckily I do play 2 in the deck for that very reason. Shao is a bit of your power card, and it's kind of like the play that you want to keep reoccurring turn after turn, so him banishing the first one was a little bit of a boon, but I managed to recover, and I went into Spheres, I think, just to follow up, and then after that, ladies and gents, it was all she wrote. He did try to Mystic Mine me, but I managed to bounce it with Tidying and just literally just keep doing attacking for damage basically, and I got another shout on field, which meant that he really couldn't do anything, and he was 2 behind in card advantage. Game 2 was a little bit of back and forth, but he managed to summon Dragoon, and I literally just couldn't get over it. After it got its first negate off and destroyed something, I was too out of resources to be able to like pop off or do anything, and he would have just burnt me and attacked me for game anyway, so I lost that game. And then round 3, again, I just out resourced him. Spheres is a hell of a card, ladies and gents, let me tell you that for free. Spheres is actually crazy. Being able to just bounce a card as well as just get set up as well as follow up is just something that you just can't measure basically. So yeah, managed to take round 1 2-1. Okay, ladies and gents, so coming into round 2, I actually played against DDD. Now, I've played this guy quite a few times, so shout out to you, Guesty. I haven't actually beat him yet, but it was a little bit closer this time. I managed to take game 1, mainly because I gammed at the correct time. Like, he didn't have many extenders at the point where I gammed him, and I was able to just pop off and control the board. I did actually play into Nibiru on purpose, because a lot of what this deck does, it kind of forces your opponent to kind of like interact with it, otherwise it just snowballs out of control. So he did Nibiru me, and he did say to me he wasn't too sure when the best time was to Nibiru, but because I held my normal summon for so long, it just meant that I was able to still just kind of like combo off and just do various things basically. So I managed to take game 1. Game 2, I literally just couldn't play the game. I think I lightning stormed his field for all his face-up monsters, and I ended up popping his Gilgamesh, which actually summoned Siegfried, which was a bit of a problem, to be honest. He also had Deuce Mac and X on the field, so he was literally just going to swallow up all my monsters, and he had enough gates as well as enough materials to just keep swallowing up my monsters, which was a bit of a problem, to be honest. So I definitely lost that one. It was a little bit rough, to be honest, but yeah, it is what it is. And then in game 3, I got baited, the hardest bait I've ever been baited in my life. I actually lost out. I was in a commanding position, to be honest, and he actually said to me if I had not interacted with him at the point in which I did, and actually interacted just a little bit later, I could have potentially won the game. So he had no cards on field, and I think he used his Necro Slime effect Now he only had a few cards in hand, and obviously I went to negate with Shao, and he actually just smacked me with Cyframe Gear Gamma, and that was all she wrote, ladies and gents. Literally that one interaction lent him to allowed him to set up a board of like Baron, I think Deuce Machina X, Siegfried, as well as the DDD one that can prevent special summons. It was absolutely crazy, just the amount of advantage he got off just resolving his Necro Slime, his Swirl Slime in hand, and being able to fuse into Flame King Gengar. So definitely a learning curve for me, something that I'm going to take into future games, just not to play into Gamma, because I was aware of it in the first game, but for some reason I just thought, you know what, he hasn't got Gamma here, and I just blindly negated a card when I didn't really need to, because my Shao wasn't actually being threatened by anything. So I should have just let him get the monster on board and not played into Gamma. But hey ho, it is what it is. Learning curve, learning point taken. So I won't be doing that again anytime soon. But yeah, that was what it was, ladies and gents. And I ended up losing round 2 to DDDs. Okay, ladies and gents, we are here. It is tripping over stuff. It is round 3 now. I'm currently X1. I lost one game against DDD. Shout out to you, Guesty. Absolutely kicked my ass in the last game. So basically what happened in game round 2, when I was playing against DDD, I played so hard into Lancia. You'll see in the footage when it rolls by. Sorry, not Lancia, Cyframe Gear Gamma. He was actually trying to just bait my Shao negate to be able to just pop off with Gamma, and then literally just snowballed out of control. He set up Baron, I think Siegfried. It was just absolutely crazy. So that was a misplay on my part. I should have assumed that my opponent had Gamma, especially as he had no monsters on field and he was activating cards from hand. So in all, it's a learning experience. But I actually lost at 2-1. It was a good game, back and forth. Like literally this deck just snowballs out of control, and especially if you don't hit it in the right point, it's very difficult to hand trap. So again, it's an interesting deck. I think round 1 I played against Shaddolls and I managed to win 2-0. Again, no, 2-1 actually. Game 2 we actually set up Dragoon. It was crazy. It was stupid. But anyway, we're gonna hit round 3 up, and hopefully we can take some more names. Again, I just want to get some practice with the deck and just see how we get on, basically. So yes, ladies and gents, I will catch you in the next one. Peace. Okay, ladies and gents, this is round 4. I didn't actually record round 3 out of respect for my opponent. I was playing against Owdlich in round 3, and I actually managed to win it in time due to skill drain. It was a crazy match. It was a 27 or probably even a 30-minute game 1 against Owdlich, and they managed to actually just burn through all the Owdlich engine. That's how long we was grinding for, but I managed to take that game. Now this is round number 4, and I'm playing against Brave Virtual World. So I managed to actually play through 2 hand traps. I believe it was 2 infinite impermanences. Now what I will say is, when you're hand trapping this deck specifically, it needs to be high impact hand traps that can like potentially shut your turn down, like Droll for example, which means that you don't end on an optimal board. Things like Ash Blossom, I don't know, Effect Veiler, Infinite Impermanence, they do good, but if you've got the extenders in hand, which more times you will do, you just can play through it quite easily, to be honest, especially with Dragon Ravine up and not being a hard once per turn. So I managed to still set up a board. I think I ended on a board of like Crystal Wings, Spheres and Tidying, so there was no way in a moment that my opponent was really gonna have a nice time playing in that game. So I managed to take game 1. I just ground him out resourced him as this deck does, and then game 2 he actually went first, but he did not see the cards that he wanted to see, and he actually bricked somewhat. He did have his Brave stuff online, but it didn't come out to fruition. There's a few things that was missing, and obviously he didn't put up a lot in the way of negation, so I was still able to set up under his Brave stuff and just just end on a formidable board basically and literally take that game. So I managed to win that game 2-0. It was a difficult matchup, to be honest, because if Virtual World had actually got out Shen, it could have been in a bit of a predicament, especially with a lot of my monsters being banished before I actually get to like establish some kind of like board presence, or even establish some setup in grave, because this deck does play a lot from its graveyard as well. So I could have been in a difficult position, but nevertheless, that wasn't what was happening. It didn't actually come to fruition, and I managed to take round 4. So yeah, ladies and gents, so coming into the final round, ladies and gents, I played against my buddy who was actually playing Swordsoul, and it was such a rough experience. I bricked the hardest brick I've ever bricked with this deck. It was absolutely ridiculous. I think my hand was Skullmeister, Driver, Dragonmaid Changeover, Phantasme, and Forbidden Droplets. Now, going second, sorry, well, at any point, that's just not the best hand. You don't have. I needed to see at least one other dragon to be able to just do something, which I didn't see, to be honest. And like actually drawing Driver in a 60 card deck is as a one of is absolutely crazy, man. I was so shocked. But nevertheless, I just lost that game. I tried to hold out for a little bit. I set my Forbidden Droplets. I think he bounced it on his first turn, and he played a little bit conservatively because we played against each other at locals. I believe it was the Tuesday before this, locals on the Sunday, and I just absolutely I went off with the deck. It was crazy, and he was just saying like, where do I interrupt? Why are you playing so much on my turn? So he played a little bit conservatively, and he kind of just held his cards, and he played it well, to be honest. And in game 2, I just didn't see any of my engine. I didn't see any of my Dragonmaid engine, any significant portion of it to be able to just combo off basically. And I didn't see any of the Dragunity stuff to be able to do anything. So he just kind of out-resourced me and set up his board, and then once he established his board, he just literally just attacked me for game. Especially with Long Yon doing 1200 burn, it just means that he does not need to necessarily like put a load of monsters on board to be able to just attack the game, because I'm already kind of down on life points. But nevertheless, ladies and gents, enjoyable experience. Again, it's a few things that I'm going to refine with the deck. It was good to be able to test with it and just see where some of the flaws were. I think the hand trap ratio and the actual hand trap lineup could be adjusted somewhat, but that's obviously dependent on meta, but it could definitely be definitely done with a little bit of tweaking, to say the least. But yeah, all in all, I just got absolutely obliterated in this matchup against Swordsoul, ladies and gents, which is not something that should really happen because this deck has a good matchup against Swordsoul. But yeah, I got annihilated. But anyway, catch you on the next one.
Okay, ladies and gents, tournament is done, dusted, over and done with. And I actually topped, to be honest. I got top 8, so I got a couple of packs surprising, and it was out of 22 players, I believe, and I finished with a record of X2. So it was 5-round tournament. I won 3, lost 2, and fortunately for me, I lost to 2 of the guys that got 2nd and 3rd place. So it wasn't a bad showing at all. So in terms of matchup, so for my last few games, I didn't get to record in between rounds, mainly because the rounds were just coming thick and fast. And I think one of my games went right up until time, and actually won in time. So I played Brave Virtual World, which I managed to 2-0. Literally just kept bouncing his bounced his normal summon a couple of times, as well as just being able to pop his adventurous stuff, which was crazy. So I want to get Brave Virtual World, and then I played against Outlich. I got Skill Drain flipped on me. I think it was like a 36 minute game 1 or something ridiculous like that. It went on for ages. I managed to outgrind the player, but it was so much back and forth, and Skill Drain just literally slowed down the match. Fortunately for me, Obviously, spheres can operate under skill drain, which is just a beautiful feeling, because it can tribute itself for cost, which was a lot of the reason why I was so successful. Yeah, and then I lost in the final round against one of my buddies. He was playing Swordsoul, and I actually bricked in a 60 card deck, which was crazy. I was playing sorry, my opening hand, I think it was something like Driver, Dragonmaid Changeover, just unplayable cards. Phantasme, for example, against Swordsoul, and he didn't go into any of his 10-year stuff, so I didn't actually have a chance to resolve it, so I didn't see any engine. And then in the final game, I just literally set up a sub-optimal board. He did have droplets for my spheres, and I just couldn't get enough engine going. He just out-resourced me and then popped a few on my cards, and there's all she wrote. That Baxia shuffle back into the deck was horrible, ladies and gents. It slows your turns down, because the bodies on field can equate to so much in like Dragunity Dragonmaids, and just being able to just get them removed from the graveyard as well was what was killing me. But nevertheless, it was a good tournament. Frustrating that I did at top, but I did perform well, and I did actually see any Scythe DPE, which was actually quite refreshing. So this like locals, or this meta, is slightly different. There are quite a few competitive decks, because I lost against DDD and just got smashed, but there's a bit of variety, but there's not so much of the brave token stuff that you see flying around, and those like heavy, sweaty, competitive like tournaments that you're more likely to see in the like regionals or something like that. So all in all, ladies and gents, it was a good showing. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Got 7th place. Like, if I'd have won my final game, I would have went with a record of X1, which would have meant I would have topped. So I could have potentially got 3rd place. But nevertheless, I enjoyed myself, and yeah, definitely a deck I'm going to be taking forward. Hopefully the ban list comes soon, and I might even make a video on the ban list just to see what things probably will be presented to us on the ban list, because I believe it might not necessarily be a nuke, but there's going to be some interesting changes. But nevertheless, we find ourselves at the end of another video. As always, if you did enjoy this content, you know what to do by now. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, all of that beautiful good stuff, and I would definitely see you guys on the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.